Hi, everyone, pouring in right now. So, we have a special stream. I have a guest. I have Mr. Luke Hughes, who is the creator of Burden of Command. And this is a new World War II strategy game. It's not out just yet. It's going to come out on April 8th. And first things first, if you want to be supportive of a game like this, you want to go to the Steam page of Burden of Command and make sure you wishlist. And this game is
Man,
a
you are a dramatic character. Go ahead.
this game is a tactical leadership RPG, so it's going to be a lot different than other historical strategy games you've played. It's more focused on like the personal connection of the leaders and troops under your command. And unlike other like hex-based World War II games, it's not just find something, shoot, destroy it, move to the next mission, and you load up with a whole new set of troops. You kind of follow the same guys from mission to mission. You build a bit of a bond with them. You upgrade them, so it's got those RPG aspects. And then you've got like dialogue and options, so you're like even more forming these sort of attachments to your men and having these sort of like events. I remember one mission I was playing earlier on, it said like, I think I was going to Morocco, and I had a button to increase the throttle on a landing craft. So it's like it got all these like details on a smaller level too, getting you into the immersion of entering a mission. So it's really cool so far. And the last thing I want to say about it before we jump to the game, and Luke could say a word if I miss anything, but the thing I've been most impressed with is just the sheer scale it's trying to cover. So when I first booted up the game, I thought, oh, it's based off of, it's heavily inspired by Band of Brothers. A lot of the novels that were written about that and stuff. But it's not just in Normandy or one theater. As you can see by these screenshots here, you're going through in Morocco through Operation Torch. You're going through in France, and maybe Luke, you could honestly jump in now to say where kind of the scope is of where everything goes and anything I missed. Yeah.
So, short version is Forbes called it Interactive Band of Brothers. We call it a leadership RPG, but if you want a sort of mental model, you're winners, right? You have to deal with being a leader on and off the battlefield. If you think of the first episode of Band of Brothers, there's no combat, but there's sure hell a lot of leadership. So we do a lot of that too. In terms of the scale, to answer your question, we start in Morocco, Operation Torch. Since I'm talking to a history crowd here, we go to Sicily, we go to Italy, not often covered in games, and we don't go to Normandy. We go to southern France, and then we end up in Germany. Actually, and it's all based in the same way Band of Brothers was based on a book, Band of Brothers, and then became a TV series. We're based on a historian, John McManus, who's closely read our content, and he wrote a book called American Courage, American Carnage, about a regiment called the Cotton Balers, oldest serving regiment in the U.S. Army, and we follow them. I encourage you to get his book. In fact, the latest version at Amazon, there it is, third one over. Third one over.
Third one.
This one was the latest one. There you go. Oh, there it is. Open the cover. The cover says the book that inspired the game. So we lost it. Anyway, you can see it there. Go order it. See, John, I took care of you. This is the older version. We follow. It's your cheat sheet for the campaign, but don't read ahead. Read along. That's the one.
Yeah, I click this link here and it says right now it's unavailable, or at least something's happening
Amazon
on the website.
It's pre-order.
Okay, it's a pre-order on Amazon. Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, I think from my experience playing the game, it does not feel like your typical World War II strategy game. It might look like, you got the hexagons, you've got units, you move them around, you shoot, but I think the way the mechanics work, the story is told, and the kind of innovative ways that they put in RPG systems, I think it's a very unique experience, and I was pleasantly surprised. Even though I've been waiting for this game for how many years has it been in development for?
We don't talk about that. I will never mention the fact that we announced in 27 and said in our release video that we would release in 2018, because I'm a hardened game developer and never make mistakes.
But yeah, I've been waiting for it for a while, and it still it exceeded my expectations. I was very impressed. The last thing I'll preface everything with before we jump in is how long is the intended play experience for the amount of content that we've got?
70 hours. And if you act now, $19.99 in the first week. I am practicing my used car salesman routine in case this doesn't work out.
Yep. So I think you said there was there would be a launch discount, right, from 25 down to 20.
$19.99, and then after that is $24.50 or something like that.
Okay, so let's jump in. We've got a scenario to show off, and we will, let me just check these settings. All right, the sound should be good. If you guys think it's too quiet, let me know and I can play with the sound. Or if I'm too loud or Luke's too loud or too quiet, you let me know. But we are jumping into a scenario here called Utweiler. Am I pronouncing that right, or is it Utweiler?
Utweiler. I'm no German expert, but
Yeah.
this is a first public showing of this. It will be available next week for the public in the demo. Go ahead. But we wanted Griffin to suffer first.
Yeah. All right, so I'm loading in here, and this is just a scenario. There is a main campaign that's got a story to it where you're going to start all the way from boot camp and then work your way all the way through real combat. I was also impressed because it honestly felt like other tutorials I've played, sometimes you jump in and you're like, all right, I get it, leave me alone. This one, I think every tutorial mission, I felt like I was learning, and I'm like, okay, this is actually getting me ready for combat. So it was like, it actually felt like boot camp that you were going through as a commander. So I thought it was a really good tutorial, and it builds a lot of anticipation to when you finally do land.
One thing I'll say in that quickly is that we have a tutorial because we teach authentic tactics for, well, I'll let him talk. You can click to pause him.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Okay. We teach authentic tactics, what's called 4Fs, but I won't belabor it, to deal with units, which is not the way every other game does, which is mostly bang, 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 you're dead. Here you have to suppress them, ideally flank them, then finish them. And so teaching that, it's unintuitive for people because every other game teaches differently. But we put a lot of effort in with books like war games. It used to be called Brains and Bullets, about what is the real psychology of combat on the battlefield. And I'm sure Griffin and I have had some fun conversations about morale in 18th century battlefields for his upcoming Master of Command, which I do like that title.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because I was following Burden of Command when it was first announced, and I had made Fire Maneuver, and then while you guys were just chipping away and developing, we moved on to our second game, and I completely, I think there's you got Unity of Command, Burden of Command, now Master of Command, so I ended up jumping into the list.
Act now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, the game is going to be a little quiet. I think if I press escape, though, I'm going to accidentally skip him. So what we'll do is we'll have the subtitles up. Once he's done speaking, I'll bump the volume up, but you probably won't be able to hear with this video. But this is like a little intro video when you start the scenario.
2 sets of long johns.
It's going to be a little quiet.
2 wool uniforms. A pair of gas pants. A wool sweater and a field jacket.
Titles up. Once he's done speaking, I'll bump the volume up, but you probably won't be able to hear with this video. But this is like a little intro video when you start the scenario. Luke, I think I hear, unless I'm hearing it through my own thing,
I was just checking to see if you were hearing it. Go ahead.
Okay.
And they didn't protect your hands and didn't keep them from freezing. They had both feet frostbit. And it was not a happy situation. Let me clue you right there.
And was this pretty typical of your fellow infantrymen?
Yeah. They had
In
been
terms of
there.
the frostbite and things like that.
Yeah. Later on, I turned in the battalion surgeon, and he told me over 100 men in the battalion had frostbite at least.
See, this is not the sexy stuff, but this is the experience, right? Getting enough food, frostbite, all these things matter to morale, not just the traumatic things you see in the typical movie on the battlefield.
All right, so we have our briefing here. Go ahead and click to continue. So March 15th, 1945. The cold seeps into your bones as you wait beneath the last of the night sky. The scent of spring, of damp earth waiting beneath the crusted snow, lies thickly in the air. Soon the sun will rise, and the U.S. Army's attack on the little German border town of Utweiler will commence, and your company will be in the lead. So we have options here. Lieutenant Stern wanted a night attack. Lieutenant Dearborn wanted a delay of 1 day. So we kind of side with one of our lieutenants and one of the plans that they wanted. Will this actually have an impact? Like if I picked night attack, would that change the scenario at all, or am I just kind of arguing with the with someone here?
Oh, I see. Is this the way we're going to play, where you're just going to cheat all the time? I'm not answering questions.
Okay,
like
all right. Let's do being worried about getting frostbite, because that's what the video was saying. Men with frozen fingers can't shoot. Men with frozen feet can't march. Winter introduces both problems in spades. Lieutenant Thompson has been trying to keep his men warm in ingenious ways. So have the others. But what it comes down to is a lack of winter gear and a plethora of Germans. Okay, so these are like little concerns that we can kind of raise and read about them. Snow hiding mines, plenty of snowfall.
Did anybody in the audience pick up the armchair one? He went right by the little Easter egg we did for him on the arm. See, if you don't read all the options, Griffin, you miss terribly important things like the armchair option. We actually you missed the armchair
Which
option.
one
Watch
did I
it later. It was on the second one.
I think I saw it.
Sorry, Alan, our writer did it for him.
Hold on, I think I found it. I'm going back on the stream. It said, "Wish I had a good armchair for the wait." I see that. I saw that.
See how subtle we are?
Yep.
Anyway.
So we can click about a night attack. Pitched the idea originally about the night attack. It had merit, namely that the Germans would be as confused as everyone else. But in the end, Battalion said no. Okay. And then what about a delay? They said no to Stern's rush plan. They weren't about to delay either. Okay, so we'll get to the attack. Dawn is about to break. I hear something out there. First Sergeant Grant says and nods into the gloom. A crunch of footfalls resolves into a dark figure that trudges through the white snow toward your command post. Like your men, he is dressed in battered olive drab that is better suited to autumnal leaves and hot cider. Paper has been stuffed into his field jacket, and the soggy bits all but falling out after a long night of work. Lieutenant McNarma settles beside you, his voice hoarse and dry. Okay, Captain, we pushed a lane through the forest and removed the mines in it. White tape will mark the way. Does the white tape...
Now, you do want to start paying attention here. There was atmospheric, but you are... the fiction and the tactical will heavily interact, and so I'm not going to say more than I would start paying attention to what you're reading.
Yeah, so I want to say, does the white tape stand out against the snow if we're using that to mark mines? You can't miss it. The whites don't match. Okay, God, I hope not. Don't want the men to hustle through a minefield. Yep, can't miss it.
I haven't played this, by the way. Go ahead.
Greenies. He means your most recent draft of replacements. Recent engagements have been brutal, and the majority of your riflemen have been with the company less than a month, if that. Your men on a select a mindset, or mindset will be doctrine. Okay, so I want to ask about mindset. In the regular campaign, your commander gets a mindset. Is that something that just completely alters and changes between missions, or do you build off of a mindset and like add more to it?
Think of we're slightly pissed at Disco Elysium, though we're friendly projects each other because they got their mindset cabinet out. For those who recognize it earlier than that, they don't call it mindsets, a thought cabinet. But mindsets are zeal. So those who watch Band of Brothers think spears. A guy runs across by himself to see the other guys under fire and then runs back. That guy's got zeal. You can develop zeal if you want. But what's unusual is you make the choices in the fiction when you're faced with what we call crucibles, critical situations. And so you are defining yourself through your actions within the men, not just on the battlefield to define your mindset, but it plays out in tactical. So if you're zealous, you'll be better at assaults. But the men will follow you. But you may get more people killed because maybe you're just pushing it a little too hard too soon, etc.
So in this case, we could select between mindset will be doctrine. Okay, we'll do select a mindset. Clear your men on out. And now we can, select here. We can select the doctrine, idealism, zeal, or caution. Well, let's go zeal because I like that you mentioned.
You told me you were going to be cautious, and now you're zealous.
Nah, okay. I'm going in. I like to be aggressive.
I see. All right, we'll see how that goes.
As soon as you can see the way forward, the Nazis will be able to see you. As the dregs of night seep away, a dozen weary engineers with frost-covered entrenching tools shuffle past. The first gleam of dawn arrives as the last of them depart. The attack can commence. Clear the town and hold it. All right, so the mission is...
Briefly on the left, mission versus men. What is the burden of command? Unlike most games that say take the hill and then everybody obsesses in taking the hill, we do that. Secure the town of Hootweiler. But there's another objective. The men suffering more and light casualties. Because hopefully if you're a reasonable, humane leader, you care about both. And so you have to balance both. And even if you're not particularly humane, you won't be very effective. You lose all your men in each fight. So this is the central tension of the burden of command. The mission versus the men.
I really like that because I would play RTS games when I was younger where it would give me a mission And if a unit got really low on health or they went through a lot, I would sometimes take him and put him in the corner of the map and be like, hey, you did a good job. You can have a break. And I put other guys and I try to make sure I save as many people. So it's cool that something like that is represented, where it's not always the most efficient route to just throw bodies at a problem. Like caring about the actual troops is going to actually
And
have a
then
score.
you'll notice you will get fiction responses. If you're too much of bleeding heart, the higher ups will care. And if you're not, and if you're a little too ruthless, they Grant and the men will care.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we
Path
go.
is right through that gap. So we've got all these arrows that are marking. Now, are these arrows, this is a gap in the mind, are these all gaps, or are these just saying where all the mines
They're
are?
all minefields except for the one gap in the mines.
Okay, right there. So that's our one
Oh,
path.
and maybe I know he's listening to me. We should put mines over all the others. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would almost do like red arrows on all the danger spots and yellow arrows on the clear
That's a good
paths, or
idea.
green or something like that. Okay, so we've got, pretty sure this is a full company, or how many platoons are we commanding here?
I'm pretty sure you have at least 3 or 4
6,
platoons.
9,
Every
yep.
leader up there is a platoon. Maybe even a little more this time.
Yep. Okay, so here's the full map. If I zoom out, we can see this is kind of what we're dealing with. We have these victory points, I assume, are pretty
Correct.
much this center
Those are
town.
effective.
Yeah. And
That's who bought it.
okay, so we'll start by selecting Lieutenant NG. And
Now, he's unusual. So on the left, just to help on that. So he's not running a company. He's the guy you just met in a fiction. And he's, he's where he told you about the path. So he's not going to run a group of men. He's just running himself.
okay. So I may just start by maybe moving him out of the way. I might move him into the forest here.
Sure.
Move him down. Okay. And, okay, here's my question. So he has no one directly under his command. Does that mean I need to pass the turn to now switch leaders? Is that correct?
This is central to the question to ask. And I know you worry about organizations and master command, right? And in our case, it's platoons, part of company. So they need to be coherent and work together. So on a given turn for you, round, you run one platoon. And then you pass, and the Germans or your opponents get a turn
They
to
get a
run one of
turn.
theirs. And you come back, and then your captain is a little special glue. He can operate on any round. But you have to respect the command and control hierarchy like the real military would.
So in this case, I move this guy out of the way.
Unless you want to move him again.
I might move him a little further. Let's see. The mines were, that's my like one path through it. If
He
I
might
move him,
stop, who knows?
yeah, I will move him back like this because I don't want it to clog up this one lane. And then I'll pass. And now the Germans are going to get their own kind of chance to reorganize or move around, but they don't really know I'm fully here yet, or at least I haven't made too much noise. I will move our unnamed commander because this is, I guess, who I
Is
would
the
be.
volume up enough? You said you were going to adjust
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Good point, actually.
Okay.
Let me go and check that out. Settings, sound. Let's bump this up because it is a little quiet.
Okay.
This should
We
be a
don't,
bit
we don't
better.
want the streams to be missed.
There we go. Thank
Okay.
you, Dan. Dan sent 50 British pounds with a little dancing character.
Yeah, I think I want to get to know Dan.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Cool. So I will grab... I'm going to grab my platoon leader who's closest to this lane. I'm going to have him go. And if I select him, I think it automatically selects him with his group. So I think both of these
so
guys
on
are
the
selected.
left, you can see what's in his platoon, who you can order, and you can click on each of them to go see where they are. But you also see the little dash lines around in an oval around them. That tells you on the map where they are. All right, here we go.
Oh, they're screaming forward.
Okay, that's interesting. Did you see the bark? Why aren't the mines cleared? Gonna kill the engineer. So that was where it was supposed to be clear in case it wasn't clear.
Okay, so I could try to make a dash for this or do like recon by fire, which would reveal if any enemies are there. I might take a risk if I have all these guys and I have to get them through the lane. If I sit there and recon every step of the way, I'm not going to get through this one spot. So because it could create like a little clogging, I'm going to try to get them through quickly. And I believe this is cover. This looks like a little like bocage or hedge.
A little hedge or wall. John,
Okay.
okay, I'll let you read this.
Sure. Scream echoes out. The effing engineer, the first sergeant Grant says as he unlimbers his carbine. The mines are cleared. Really? Let me walk to the road, Captain, please. Me first, rank hath privileges. The Germans mind it again, or something. The mines must come first. He'll run. He knows what's coming. I'll be a little sarcastic about it. You get front of the line. Sure. First Sergeant Grant says, but maybe we'll get lucky and Patton will step in. So what about the effing mines? I'll not curse for my stream just in case. We can't see them. We can hunt for them. And we've still got a town to take. Do whatever we can to limit exposure so American squads may lose orders and suffer suppression when moving. Issue no new orders. American squads may suffer a little suppression when moving. Mine casualties may increase. Bowl through before the Germans catch us. I don't want to limit it because the path is so narrow that I want to take right now, but I also just don't want to blow everybody up. So I'm going to go middle here. I'm going to go number 2. American squads may suffer a little suppression while moving. Okay. Let's continue here. Attempt to open fire. So we got some Germans hiding out. They failed at attempting their fire there. I'm not suppressed, I don't believe, right? There's no malices applied.
All right, so if you don't see any color change or put your mouse over it, you have a casualty. See the red dot?
Yeah, one guy from the mine.
Otherwise, you're doing pretty well so far. So they didn't. You got lucky because running around the open can be pretty bad.
Yep. And so I could choose to engage here, and it looks like I have mostly an advantage in this shot. Or what else could I do? He has a follow me order, which I haven't seen yet when I was playing campaign. He's also got grandstand. And then we could also...
Left. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the most basic one would be a bolster. And this is a good idea to do to increase firepower or right when you're making an assault. Is that correct?
Yeah, so core is you want to win the initiative because you want to put more bullets around them before they put it around you. Not because you're going to kill, but you're going to make them put their heads down. If you make them put their heads down, then you'll be able to assault. And because when they put their heads down, they're going down behind a wall. You won't be able to kill them, but you will be able to make them ineffective. Bolster is probably the most important single leader thing you can do. Speaking as a game designer for a moment, think XCOM. We have what's called orders or like action points. They only have so many of the green dots there. So when he bolsters, it's going to come at a cost to what more he can do with his platoon. So trade-offs. Do I bolster here, direct the fire, or should I be bringing up some more squads?
Yeah, that's a good point. So these circles, the green circles, are how many orders that your platoon leader can make. And then you also have separate green circles for the actual squads themselves. This way, a platoon leader with a lot of orders can't just make the same order for the same squad over and over and over again. If you want to do that, there is an ability to add a little bit of extra order power to that squad to push them a little further. Yeah, but that just costs more orders to do. So yeah, there is definitely a question here because I think if I bolstered, that costs 2 orders. Is that right?
1 order.
1 order. So bolstering would be 1 order.
Usually a good idea for first.
Yeah. So I think I'll bolster.
Listen up.
That used up
now
1 order.
Odds of winning initiative on the fighter should be very high.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm going to fire at the closest German squad here.
The orange hexes are where you'll take fire if you move.
Okay, so red means they're now suppressed. And so I've got 1 order left, and what I'll probably do is bring in an additional squad. So I've got... This is a higher veterancy squad because there's more stars, is what I'm assuming. Right. And so I could move up through here. The forest looks like it's blocking the guys in the town mostly. And yeah, I think this is probably where I want to go.
So he's organized his platoon, right? Like a real lieutenant would for his platoon to get effective fire. Somebody to fire, somebody to move up, etc.
And then I've got 1 order left, so I think that means I can just bring in 1 more squad.
Correct.
So we'll have these guys go in behind them. It's creating a bit of that traffic jam. Now, I have a question for you. Maybe you can't answer because it's part of the scenario, but it was saying that we had this huge line of mines and that this was the safer spot to go through. Is the scenario designed in such a way where it wants me to keep funneling troops through here, or how deadly are the mines designed in a game like this? If I go through and
maybe you should decide if you want to find out or not.
Okay, all right. I'll see if I want to decide. I might have to use the platoon as an experiment.
Oh, before we go into minefields, could you just tell us if it's safe or not? Not today, No, maybe it is okay. I don't know. Actually, I really don't know. I haven't played the scenario, but I would take minefield seriously, but that doesn't mean you might not get away with it. Maybe they aren't there. The guy could have screwed up.
Yeah. I'm going to move the bazooka team up because I think it's part of the same platoon. Good. Okay. This guy actually has a couple more orders left, but I can't move him through his buddies, I don't think. I could get him in the forest.
You can get them in the forest if you
Yeah,
wanted.
and there could be some mines there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure we want Griffin in charge of us anymore. He seems a little ruthless.
All right, you know what? We're gonna have to find a couple paths and just step on some mines to get through. Because once I switch,
I think we've got Patton here.
once I switch to the next platoon, I don't have any more room. We gotta open up some more spots. So we'll end the turn here because there's not much more I want to do with this platoon. So the Germans will have a
Griffin
chance to
told me
respond.
his style was cautious before. I'm not seeing that now. I'm seeing a rather ruthless nature.
Well, you know what? I think there is some caution here because I feel like I'm in this like fatal funnel situation where if I keep everybody grouped up in the back, that could end up being more deadly. So if I have to weigh the two risks, I want to get people to safer positions, even if I have to take some casualties to get there.
One of our scenario designer doesn't feel he succeeds till he has you screaming at the monitor. So if he's putting a situation where you're like, well, damn, I don't want to get all funneled up here, but they're minefields, but I don't know, and you're like, God damn it, then he's happy.
We're going to have Dearborn go next, and let's see. He can't get through these guys, so I'm going to have to move them first, start crawling them through the forest. We're definitely going to run into some mines, but I think we just have to do it. Are they lucky? They're lucky so far. I can move a little further, but they'll get shot while in cover. These guys could also move up. I might go ahead and do that because we got a suppressed, and yellow means like pinned or like in contact or yeah.
He's played a fair bit, so that's exactly right. The colors are sort of stoplight, red is they're in bad shape, yellow they're and green they're good. So he's making the right decision, right? They will not be very effective against him in principle. If nobody else is there.
Go through, hit a mine. Beautiful.
Oh man, boy. I think there's gonna be some conversation with Sergeant Grant after this fight. To be fair to you, there's another late Southern France scenario. John McManus, the historian, was reviewing, and one of the decisions was to go through the minefield or not. And there's somebody else playing, and they were like, I'm going to wait in the minefields. He said, well, actually, they went through the minefields because they had a schedule they had to meet. They did. Exactly. So actually, to be fair to you, you are acting historically as someone unpleasantly here.
And I think what is nice, at least I'll give these guys a break because I'll have cleared out about 2 hexes of mines through the forest and 2 hexes of mines in the south. I have another platoon up here. It would take them the same amount of time to walk through another minefield as it would to actually go through the cleared path. So hopefully by the time my second squad, or first platoon arrives, these guys will have pushed past this and opened up kind of a clearing where at least some of those mines, Now, one of the dialogue boxes, I don't know if he was just commenting or if it was actually like a little instruction, talked about using a mortar to clear mines. Is there a way that you could fire ordnance on an empty tile to try to set off any mines, or is
That's not in the normal mechanics? Having said that, they get the script designers, the game writers, and so forth to have some liberty to do unusual things. But I'd be a little surprised that really works here.
Yeah.
But maybe they do it. I mean, they're clever with what they do with the scripting engine. You could try it.
So as Luke has pointed out, this isn't just like shoot to rack up kills and you're knocking out an artificial health system. When we look here, we can see that this squad is red, meaning suppressed. That normally in games means, oh, they're about to die, finish them off. But to finish them off, you need to do an assault and take that position. In this case, they're already suppressed. It would be redundant to continuously fire at guys with their heads down. I'm not going to hit anything. So I'm actually going to fire at the next best threat, which are these guys who are not quite suppressed yet. And having 2 suppressed enemies is better than having 1 suppressed enemy and 1 fully operational. So I'm going to fire at this guy here, using 2 orders.
40,000 bullets for a casualty. That's not a kill in World War II. In Afghanistan, supposedly 70,000 because they would ambush you instead of really get out of there. So this is credible by most accounts, but not typical in games.
Okay, so we've got 2 enemies suppressed. Now I feel safer to move up to the edge of the forest. I'm still in cover.
Good thinking.
There could be a mine. There is, yeah. These are the 2 hexes I'm expecting to have at least cleared out some of the mines from.
Gradient channel.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've discovered another squad here. Doesn't look like they're the most disciplined or alert because they're yellow. I think these guys have a little bit more in them to fire, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. They're surprised.
So he's setting up for assaults, etc. Suppressive fire, yep.
And I probably should have actually moved my platoon leader up by now so he could have bolstered before shooting.
Oh.
But I am lucky that the enemy was not in a well-prepared position. It seems like they were caught by surprise and didn't have... They were not on green, so...
Yeah, good job.
We will have Dearborn move up. Now, am I selecting... Let's see, we've got the... That's the bazooka. That's Dearborn with the bazooka. I can move them up. There we go. Move up behind them. Keep going. Hesitates, mind check. And then I think I can just select Dearborn and move him up with his men.
Correct.
There we go.
Yep.
So he's on the front line. He'll be able to bolster next turn if we want to get in for an assault.
Great. They're out of orders, basically. No
Exactly.
action point.
So we're about spent with these guys. My platoon leader has no more orders to issue, so I think all we can do right now is end the turn. Technically, if we have a company commander, I think the company commander can push around a little bit without having to end the turn.
Yes, I think on probably top left you have your captain. He could come up. Click him. That should be your captain.
Is this guy here? Captain,
Is he
yeah,
the
right
captain?
there.
Yeah. All right,
He's-
so he can act independently. He can do anything he wants any turn, but you used up all his orders already.
Yeah, he's only got
So-
one left. That's right.
Well, actually, he could run over there if you wished. But
Yeah.
think of him as kingpin. You sort of put him where you're making your main effort, as they call it,
Mm-hmm.
and he helps, right? So you got the lieutenant there and the captain helping out.
Exactly.
I remember that scene where Winters really wanted to run out in the field and help out the struggling lieutenant. So sometimes it's a good idea and sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm. I think what I'll do is actually take Lieutenant Wilson, who I was mistaken. I thought my captain was originally the
Yeah, I didn't
lieutenant.
notice that either. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I will try to get him up, moved up later.
Oh, here.
But it's Dearborn's kind of initiative right now, so I'm not able to move up Wilson right now, so I'll end the turn.
So Griffin, you can see he's played, I don't know, 10 to 12, 15 hours, something in Morocco. He's acting like a company commander. He's thinking about how he brings his organizations up. He's positioning them. He's thinking about the overall play across these different organizations.
And we do not get our orders restored until what is the main thing that's going to restore all of the orders? Is it like every 5 turns, or is it when all platoon commanders are done, or what is the thing that's going to restore
So to
orders?
be exact about it, the game is a series of leader rounds. We've been doing leader rounds, and when you use up all your leader rounds or you pass a lot, then the game turn advances. And when the game turn advances, assuming the Germans don't have any opinions, everybody refreshes. So the game turn is a series of leader rounds, each leader round being essentially a platoon.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next leader then. So let's go ahead and check out our leader over here, Mr. Thompson. Where's he at? He's in the back. And he'll start moving up the road. I think I'm happy to just move him up here. And we'll have these guys sort of fall in. I don't want them to open up a new path.
Dare slow down.
Oh, there's a machine gun that can fire all the way across there. Okay, that leads me to my next question about range. Because it is hard sometimes. I think when you play... There are hex games or war games where it's always like, oh, they can fire 2 or 3 hexes ahead. Is this the type of game where if you've got line of sight, you can really fire down with a weapons team?
All right. Now,
yeah.
now, you thought you were being nice to me to talk about the game, but I have to plug Griffin. So this is truth. One video I watched early on game development was his nice video, which I encourage people to, on who's better, U.S. squads or German squads. And if you listen to that, you will see he talks about things like the placement of, this is probably an MG42, extremely high quality German machine gun. What they did here, right? The line of fire. They figure you might come down the road, so it's not chance they placed themselves there. Luckily, they seem to be not high quality yellow, but MG42 is a very dangerous weapon versus you. And let's check its range. Click on the German, and if you click on, he's grayed out because he's spent. That's
Max
a slight
range
bug.
18, and he can
But
see...
you see the target button down below, all the way down. It's like
oh, this
think
one
you're-
here. Yep.
I'm sorry, I hadn't noticed there. We're still little development things like IROS. When he goes spend, his button does, like a normal unit. But normally you could have clicked that and he would have shown you his range also in yellow. We could do that. Hey, why don't we do this one of the American units? Pick an American
Sure.
unit that's that. Pick under Thompson, I think.
Gotcha, yep, because he's selected currently. This guy would work, right?
So pick that.
And you can see on
There.
yellow where...
So rifle's shorter, but MG42 is at a very effective suppression range. So yeah, he's got your fanny.
Yeah, and that's cool because I think there are a lot of games where they'll abstract a machine gunner as just having extra damage or maybe 1 extra hex. But in this case, you could be fired at from all the way across this whole lane, and so you really have to be thinking about line of sight, open positions, sprinting across the road without any cover. Now, my question for you is, this guy's in a little bit of trouble. I think I could probably rush him to the forest, which is what I think I want to do. Let's see
Probably
if-
out of line of sight.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say one thing quickly. We have a lot of vets involved. One of them has actually fired the MG42 or something extremely close to it, and he kind of a Dutch RN Hank. He's an expert on this kind of thing. And we got some early complaints for exactly the way Griffin identified from playtesters, people who are not wargamers. This is not a war game. We draw on it. It's a leadership RPG. They're complaining about the ridiculous range of the MG42. So he did a whole dedicated video for them on how the MG42 worked, what its range was, why, etc., etc. And if you go and watch Griffin's video again, I'm not just plugging you now, it's useful. He talks there about the rate of fire, effective range, things like that. So we try to model, because otherwise the vets beat the crap out of me for not being respectful.
I think most people appreciate that kind of historical detail, and it's cool because once you learn it once, you're not going to forget, and that's what kind of the boot camp of the game is about. It's about starting slow in Morocco against Vichy troops, and slowly you're gonna learn that. It's not like the first mission you play, it'll throw you in a situation like this. Okay, I'm gonna try to make the rest of the dash and see if we can get across here, which we did. The rest of my troops, though, it's gonna be risky to get them across. Now, my question is, could I have Thompson? Could he fire some kind of do we have smoke mortars or anything to block line of sight? Would that be a possibility?
You have smoke. Let's check your captain. I don't know if you do offhand. Click the captain.
Let's see. Yeah.
Top left.
Captain
there you
here.
go. Very good.
Support.
Check it.
I have smoke.
Oh, you have smoke. There you go. Now you'll have to use a spotter. You'll have to have line of sight, but it looks like he does.
Yep. Now, if I were to use smoke, what's the range of that? Is that going to be 1 hex, or is it going to kind
Pretty
of...
much the map.
Say again?
Smoke. Pretty much the map.
Oh, okay.
In other words, anywhere in the map, but not... The reason you're seeing limited is his line of sight.
Mm-hmm. And when that smoke drops, will it blow over or move, or what's kind of the size?
It changes every turn, and it fills 1 hex.
Okay.
And the quality of smoke. Mortars will produce less smoke.
Interesting.
Than heavy artillery.
I'm going to try to smoke out this area and see. I just want to fill it out and see what that smoke does. So I'm going to smoke out that building.
There you go.
There we go. At the very least, it'll at least set up my next turn for that assault. So I think it's a dual purpose. If it's big enough, then it'll cover maybe some of that lane with the MG42. If it's small, I'll still be able to use it for the assault.
I'm not sure I like the fact you had played a fair bit before, because you may be too coherent here.
And I think it's too risky to move the rest of my squad through. I have 35 turns. This is where I'll be cautious. I don't want people getting mowed down by the MG42. Let's see if there is one little... Oh, did they get hidden again? I can't see where they're at. If they were...
Yeah, you moved out of line of sight.
You're right. If
I
they were...
didn't see that coming either, honestly. Now, I'm not helping you. I don't remember where they are.
Yep.
God's not coming down and tell you where they were.
I think what I'll do is I'll use any remaining orders to kind of line up where I can on this road and get ready to move across.
Good.
And get everybody ready. They're all in line. So when it's time, I'll move across, but now's not the time. I'm going to end the turn for them. Yeah, I think Thompson's done.
Veterans would become adept, including modern veterans, at reading the terrain, like Griffin is, right? Where are the lines of fire? Where are the fields of fire? Where's the cover for me? Where I put my machine gun if I were the Germans?
All right, we got the German turn. They're moving up some reinforcements back here. They're still suppressed, but they've got guys in the back. If I were to run out of cover and assault them, they've definitely got some reserves, so it's not going to be the smartest thing to do just yet.
But they're yellows and reds.
Yep.
So.
And let's see who I want to command next. All of our major platoons have been commanded. I do have Stern, I think I left him in the back. There he is. And I believe he's in charge of the weapons team. Is that right?
Very good. That's correct.
Yep.
He'll bring up machine guns and mortars and so forth.
Yeah, we've got the mortar here. And I think that forest is too dense to move through. Or is it? No, he doesn't have it. He fired his smoke rounds, therefore he can't move.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
Very good.
So Stern, I'll move him up a little bit. There's no reason he needs to be too far back.
Yes. Next time to move a little further. So that might be a good trick to show.
Right.
It's lightning, I believe.
Yep, that's this one here. Okay, so...
Press the machine gun. Or if you wish to.
Yeah. There, that's everybody selected. Click the press. We right-click on the machine gunner. Give them extra order.
You can only do that once without rest. But look, he's going further. He could even get into the woods or out in the open and get along.
I like this one little spot I left open where a machine gun could kind of hold the center between the two platoons. So I'm going to start advancing toward that location. It's probably mines there.
No stragglers.
But worst case scenario, I can just swap positions with another squad if I wanted to.
The snow is slowing everything down, just like it did in practice, of course. So the presses may be more important to keep the momentum going.
Mm-hmm. And that's Wilson in the back. I'm going to end the turn there.
You're getting set up. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got like our front line positioned here, and then I've got my reserves waiting. If I don't have a clear opportunity, they may have to take the risk and jump over the road. We'll see. I don't want to go through the forest, but if I do that, that's just another front I'm opening up, which could actually be a good thing. So
Maybe drinking. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. We will. I think we'll end the turn unless I could finish off Wilson's remaining orders basically, and we can do that by moving him up to his own platoon, which I had forgotten.
Come on, you lazy dogs.
And then I'll move him right in with his men.
Keeping him with the men is always a good idea.
There we go.
Good.
And his turn.
One thing I hate about being the developers, I never get to play, mostly. So it's really fun to actually be here and involved in the play.
And then I think we do, once we have Stern do his last orders, then everybody refreshes. I think that's correct, right?
Correct.
Because I think he's...
If the Germans don't feel that they want to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Enemy always gets a vote. I'm sure some of your audience will recognize that kind of quote.
Let's see if he can... Can he press again? Or only press once?
Given unit can only be pressed once unless you rest it.
Makes sense. No artillery to really call in. Is there any way Stern could just pass? Or does he have to do something?
And you can just pass. Sure. Keep the order in case something comes up. Or move him, or maybe he wants to go join somebody else. But just pass. You don't want to do anything else, pass.
I think I'll just spend him on... I don't think I want to move him. I want to keep him with the machine gun. The machine gun has no more movement left. So yeah, we'll do...
He's back in the woods. It's not going to make a big difference probably to anything.
Yep.
Okay, Germans are thinking. Here we go.
Okay. And... Yeah, I have nothing for Stern to do. Should I just give him a command so I can refresh everything, or do I need to...
Yeah. Spacebar or hit the button and just pass. And
just keep passing.
Pass, the Germans pass and the turn will end.
Perfect. That makes sense now.
There
Okay.
you go.
What's the call, Captain? First Sergeant Grant asks. They've got mines and then some. We can't just sweat it out here. Clear the mines, just insignificant town, or we have our orders attack. I'm not as afraid about the mines anymore.
From what you saw, I think you already picked number 3.
Yeah, I think we're doing number 3. I've already cleared out 2 areas that I want to go through, so I'm ready to keep attacking. Let's keep moving. Okay. Mines confirmed. Mines confirmed. Yep.
I will say this is easy on a one-off scenario for Griffin to make these decisions, but if he were moving through the minefield to, say, Thompson, a young man who's been with him through the war for 3 years, and he's putting Thompson, and he's bonded with him and spent a lot of time on and off the battlefield, and Thompson bites it in the minefield, he's going to feel a little differently about his deception. And we strongly encourage an Iron Man permadeath, no save scum, because we won't kick you out of the game, but new leaders will come, interesting stories will happen, and you will feel the burden of command. I still remember what the writers did to me in a certain scenario, which I will not reveal, that lost me a leader, and I still feel guilty about it, even though I'm not sure I would make a different decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a big part of this game is building that sense of attachment. So one-off scenario, you're not getting that full experience of being with these guys. It also might look a little intimidating for you guys. I got so many platoons and companies and units to order. But when you do start the game, if you're a little intimidated by this, you start off really small and then you build those relationships up. You gain more command. You learn how to use a tank and you slowly kind of build up to a larger
3
scale.
units at the beginning. Now I want to say something because game designers don't get to talk live often. So we were talking before the podcast. Master of Command, he put an enormous amount of effort, as you've seen in his videos, I'm sure, on personalization of the units, facings, even on the horses and on the units and the uniforms and the names. This is not just pretty nice cosmetic. It matters because it creates bonds. So I think in Griffin's game, there will be some burden of command too, as your beloved leaders or your beloved, is it battalion level or company level?
Battalion or regimental, around there.
You know, your beloved regiment, you are ordered to charge the Hessian lines or whatever, and they get cut down, and you put a lot of emotional time into them. Like XCOM, right? You tailor them, you don't want to see them die.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm with you on the Iron Man mode type of thing, too. My intended experience for my game, I feel like it makes a big deal, is if you cannot go back, if you send that cavalry regiment in that has been with you the whole campaign and they go way too deep in enemy lines and there's no retreat path and they get wiped out, you just have to live with that and then move on and it makes each decision to attack heavier. You can't just reload and just try something. Burden
of command.
Yeah.
Or burden of the Master of Command in future. Go ahead.
So anyone getting confused, by the way, especially if you're just tuning in, Luke here is the creator of Burden of Command. This is a World War II tactical game, RPG. And then we're working on a game called Master of Command, similarly named. We haven't posted too much about it on this channel, but if you want to learn more about my game, you can look up Armchair History Interactive, where we have a separate channel where we cover that. And if you want to learn about Burden of Command, Luke, what's the best social media to go to? Is it Twitter or YouTube channel?
I would go to our YouTube channel. We have only 130 videos explaining the game on all kinds of fronts. Is it tactically credible? Is it historically credible? What is this about suppression and emotion, combat stress, PTSD, on and on? You can see we care a little bit about it.
Yep.
But there are 3 trailers. In fact, the really perverse one we just put out is, I should be shot, right? But it's called 3 Reasons Not to Buy Burden of Command. But it is kind of truth in advertising. The 3 reasons are, and I'm going to be straight again, right? Because we want the right people to play it that's a match for them. One is, we do sober issues. You saw the cursing. That's not too sober. But war is heavy. I want to say something briefly. Carl Melentes, a remarkable individual, who left Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar to become a lieutenant in Vietnam. Not many people did that. He wrote a book called What It Is Like to Go to War. And he said when you go to war, you enter the Temple of Mars. Temple of Mars doesn't mean it's not, he said it's spiritual. Doesn't mean it's good spiritual. It might be hell spiritual, but death is spiritual. What else could be more? So my point is we handle very mature themes. There is graphic imagery, real war at times. It's not gratuitous, but kind of like Band of Brothers there. Another one is there's a lot of text, because we're trying to convey the emotional and the off the battlefield too. And finally, we have we think an authentic tactical model, which is not bang, 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 you're dead. My point is, go watch the 3 videos, see if it's right for you. May not be, but it might be. I'm hoping for the crowd that cares so much about history with the Armchair Historian, it will be. But who can say?
Yeah, and the best way to support the game, whether you're undecided whether you're going to purchase it or not, you're going to wait for a sale, whatever it is. If you go to Steam, you type Burden of Command, wish listing is like the best thing you can possibly do to help games like this. Because even if you you think the game's not for you, it still helps. It's completely free to do, and it still helps push the game. And Steam looks at the algorithm. It's kind of like liking or leaving a comment on a video. It's as simple as that. So yeah, that would be very helpful. That's always something to do. If you want to support a game, that's the best way to do it.
And Griffin pushed us to do a broader, more complex scenario to show off so you can see the capacity of the engine.
Yep.
But I want to re-emphasize, when you start with 3 units, 1 unit on the first map, then 3, and you build up. So this looks, I hope, intriguing, but perhaps intimidating. Go play our demo, which is available, and you can get a sense if it matches for you, if it's too overwhelming or not.
Yeah, if the demo is up now, I would definitely try that out. You can go to Steam. Is the demo just right underneath the Steam page?
It is.
Ready? Yeah.
This scenario will actually be available next week, so you can show Griffin how he should have played.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump back in here. I think I want to do... Is there a way I could grab my captain, go in for a artillery strike, and hit these reservists? Oh, they're just a little bit out of range. Maybe what I could do is... if I check... So that's his line of sight with the binoculars. Is there an easy tile I can get to that's going to be able to see them? That's a little more difficult. I can get to the forest where there's mines.
Any hex will tell you it's line of sight.
Yeah. The only hex that seems attractive to be able to do that is mined. So if we want to risk the captain, we send him in. And he might get shot at as well.
Hank, that was very mean of you to make the interesting line of sight places have mines.
Let's see. I just want him to go alone.
Now he could lose the captain here.
I could lose my captain.
It looks like you're not in a minefield anymore, actually, so you might be okay. But that otherwise would be...
Right, he's going for it.
And he doesn't come back. But I think it's not marked as mines, but you know, they might be off on the map.
Okay, they're going to attempt fire. We're in the forest. What are they going to do?
Oh my god, they dropped artillery on you. Wow.
Okay, everyone's a little freaked out. Let's see.
Yes, everybody took
artillery's coming in.
Weapon shock. Guess what? When new weapons appeared on the battlefield for the enemy, people freaked out. This is historical. And so everybody in line of sight of that artillery strike has been morale affected, suppression affected. Not
Luckily,
too much.
Captain's alive. He's going to retaliate. We're going to use our own artillery now, and we should be in line of sight. Here we go.
All right.
We're calling an arm order.
Maneuvering for line of sight. That's a sophisticated way to play, Griffin. Well done. Now that means you just got seen.
Cool. This whole German front, though, is now fully suppressed besides
Yeah.
one squad in the back.
Yep.
Am I in line of sight of them? I technically am, so we could put some fire on those troops, too, which I may honestly do if we really want to pin this area down. What I may also do... I have a... Okay, here's what we're doing. We are going to move the squad with the captain, which is going to provoke some fire. Let's see.
But probably ineffective
He's
given
good.
the quality
Yep.
of what you're dealing with.
We now have a new hex open where we're going to move... I don't think I can do it this turn. When we're ready, that machine gunner is going to move up and attack that one squad that's up and
It's
operational and
not Stern's
reserve.
player around right now. It's if you look at the top, you can tell the indented. It's right now.
Exactly. So we
you
can
only do
see...
Dearborn.
Exactly. So, and by the way, if anybody's confused by, like, how come I can't control certain squads, you can see a little dotted line that circles the units, which I may even add, Luke, for feedback. Maybe it'd be for bigger scenarios like this, because I didn't find this as much of a problem when I was playing the campaign, because I was controlling a smaller group. But for a bigger one, I wonder if instead of being green with a dotted line, it could light up a different color or a brighter green.
I had the same feeling this morning. I swear to God, that's strange.
Yeah.
I thought, what if the bases were colored by the organization?
I would do
now,
that,
One more
honestly.
trick. Look
Yeah.
on the right side of the banners. You see the red bull? Or the
Yes.
blue side of arrows?
Yep.
All members of a platoon have the same insignia, kind of like he does in Master Command. So another easy visual is look for the same, marker.
Yep. So everybody
All the
under
red-
this commander, under Dearborn, has the bull. So bull squads are able to be commanded. So we've got one actually in the back, and then we've got two in the front.
You can customize that. Go ahead.
Yep. So this squad here would be redundant for them to fire, but they're not ready to go yet. They do have a squad in the back. I'm ready to bring them up. We're going to have them...
He's getting ready to assault, I would say, as an
Yeah.
outside observer.
We're going to creep them up. I think I'm going to pass his turn. I'm not fully ready yet. They could charge in, but there's one squad there that's going to pin us down. So what I have to do is I'm going to
They're
have
all
to...
red, though.
I'm going to pass it, move up the machine gunner, suppress that last squad, and then mass charge anybody who's able to.
All right, I do think he might be a cautious player. He's being very systematic here.
It might waste a little too much time. We'll see. But I
Yeah,
want
but
to see if I can pull it off.
hey, they'd appreciate it if you did.
Yeah.
It's not abstract for them.
This is
you saw
where-
something. Oh, look. Somebody opened up on you, it looks like.
That is the squad I was worried about.
Good decision.
Yep. So they don't have any orders left, but Stern does. Stern can be selected, use the lightning bolt for press.
Good.
He can't press his... Is it because I already pressed them? Let me double check that.
That's the tired one you pressed before. They've got the little tired icon.
Oh, okay. So they've already been pushed. They can't be
Yeah.
pushed any further. Okay. So the only thing we can do left is the mortar, but the mortar already fired. So really, I think Stern is all done. We're going to have to keep him... Actually, we have one more machine gun in the north I forgot about. Someone else pointed out. I may have to open up another front. I think that's what I want to do. At least with the machine gunner. He's going to go solo and do that.
I hear you.
Because I need to just open up another line. If I have a machine gunner in the north, I can fire down.
Well, now, if there had been some Germans in there, it could have been very interesting with a little machine gun squad.
Yeah, that's true. Going in unsupported.
Squad. I don't know what's in there, so you're making reasonable decisions. I really
Yeah,
don't.
there could be. Honestly, my blue platoon over here, I originally wanted them to come south, but I may actually just have them stay north and push through. Yeah.
Got to be adaptive.
So we're going to end his turn. We're passing a little too much. I would say in retrospect, maybe making that assault, even if we took some casualties, may have at least
Danger
pushed.
for you as the German leaders, doesn't seem to be a lot of activity there, will go around and rally their men.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not going to be passive. But I haven't seen a lot of activity there, so I think you're getting away. No, that guy went yellow, so somebody's active.
one did
I
rally.
think there's a leader around. Somebody went yellow.
Yep.
Yellow's so crappy. These don't seem to be very good troops.
All right, we're going to take Lieutenant Wilson. I'm going to make a play here in the south because I'm going to gamble that the Germans are more concentrated in the village and that there's just not as much in the farm. So I'm going to gamble a little bit. We're going to grab... In fact, this tile can't even see into this kind of area. So I feel a little safer there. Wilson's going to get activated. I may jump him forward. One guy's going to open up.
He's red.
Yeah.
They can't go worse than red, so you're not going to get any better.
I mean, oh, they're smoked actually right now. I was referring to the smoked units there, but they're
Very good.
smoked, yeah.
Not about it.
Then we're going to take our other squad. swing them forward into the farm. We're safe for now. Can they go in for the assault? Let's see. Are they too far away? They might be a little too far. I only got one order left. Too far is what it says.
That slows you down, I'm afraid.
Could
But
Wilson...
bolster will give movement.
Yeah. Could I even bolster who I'm currently with and try to push them forward?
The red tells you can assault if you do that. So yes is the answer.
Okay. So we're going to bolster
Can't hold us back.
and C. Now, if I
There we
hold
go.
control, I'm able to designate a path. Is that right? Or how would I do
No
that?
points. Control right click. Correct.
Control right click to that.
There you go. All right, let's see
So
if
we're
we can
going to
do
cross
it.
the hedge, push them out.
Keep
All
up.
right.
There we go. Prisoners are taken. They're not too much to look at. These must be young boys. Okay, we're fighting Volkssturm in
right?
Germany, yeah. Prisoners of war. Okay, we're fighting the kids.
That's why they've been yellow and red.
Yeah.
They're not putting much fight.
This war's over. Okay. So that gives me a little more confidence to push and take some riskier moves now.
Yeah, very
Especially because I want to get...
intelligence. You've got intelligence.
I'm currently ranged in with artillery as well, and there's a machine gun in the back, so... The machine gun, actually, this is a flak gun, a 20mm flak. That plus a machine gun, this is where the real worry is for me. Luckily, they're pretty concentrated. If they're smoked and bombed, I feel like I can try to get around all this. Okay. One order left with Wilson, which is good. I'll have the troops lingering move up. Maybe cross here. They're not going to be exposed to fire. They're scared they're going to be exposed.
Well, they will, but it won't matter because it's a red squad up there.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to give them... I think I could try again. Let's see. Try it again.
Oh, they failed a morale check. So this is a morale system. So units ask you a dangerous thing like move under fire, make a morale check. And if they notice, he's yellow. His morale is weak. So he hesitated. So as your units get suppressed, then they become less effective. They fire less effectively. They move less distance. They become cautious about making moves. You've got to manage the will of the men because you're the leader.
Okay, so I think we made a good breakthrough in the south through the farmland, and we're rolling up the flank now. I think I'm going to save blue for last, Thompson. I'm going to go maybe back to Dearborn. I think I can go back to a leader if I didn't spend all of his orders, right?
Nobody's active yet, and you can go back.
I can go back. So I'm going to have Dearborn...
You might be able to assault right away if you want.
I could. These guys are scaring me. But there's this blind spot, actually, in front of them. So I might be able to take advantage of the blind spot.
It's just smoke.
Bolster it.
There you go.
Bolster the squad. Have them make the assault. And get in and take these guys out. I don't want to go north because there's that machine gun. So I think going here is a safer spot.
Yeah, you're a good tactician. I'm not being nice. I didn't even follow that one.
Gentlemen, charge!
They're fleeing. Squad surrenders.
Now, this is what happens in real war from what we've read in World War II. Typically, you're running at them. They're suppressed. They think, I don't want... Ooh, you're getting fire. I don't want to hit in the stomach. So they surrender. So games often make it, melee, very exciting, dramatic. In practice, it was usually retreat or surrender. We tend to limit the retreats because it makes for an uninteresting game flow. You're just constantly chasing people. So they're a little ahistorical, but the surrender part's pretty historical if they're suppressed. Now, if you'd gone in there and they weren't, they might very well put up a fight.
Yeah, if you try doing an assault and the enemy's not suppressed, it's typically not going to end too well. Yeah, you really want to stack as many positive conditions in your favor, bolstering, bringing a platoon leader, getting the enemy's heads down, and then finishing them off.
Very well said.
That's
You're
important.
stacking the deck. You don't want this to be a fair fight.
Now, the thing I am worried about now is I only have one order left with this commander. My squad can fire after the assault. We can either shoot point blank to the guys in smoke or hit these guys in the rear who have been bothering us this whole time.
Or you could do an assault. You are quite experienced against what seem to be weak troops.
We could do another assault. Honestly, though, I'm going to get fired at by the guys in the village and fired at by these guys, and then potentially...
They're spent. The ones in the village are... Look, he's got yellow and gray. The one to your southeast.
Yeah, there's a flak gun covering us as well.
The flak gun I'd be more concerned about.
Yeah, so I don't want to push in there. I want to be... Honestly, before I engage that flak gun, I want to make more progress in the north, potentially. Because this thing is going to just tear me apart. It has a lot of blind spots, which I like. There's some spots in between the village or around this forest. So I think that is useful. Okay.
The foxholes, if you were to assault the guy to your southeast,
Mm-hmm.
do give you cover. So if you took that risk, you'd have some cover against the flak.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I do that. If I bolstered again, I would lose my last order, so I really just have to get in.
Yeah, very good you noticed that. That would have been frustrating. You would have used it up and then not been able to do it.
Let's see. We've got
Good
a
trade-off.
Prepare
It's
to
likely.
advance.
no
you go.
resistance. Yeah, a lot of these guys are younger or inexperienced.
Exactly.
That is the thing I'm worried about the flak gun. Let's see if we can
Now,
get down.
Flak, you are running, so that's bad for you.
Yep.
Took 3 suppression out of 10. Think of a very simple model. Your 10, their experience are probably actually 15. Look at the green. It's a little off, right? They're still okay, but they're starting to feel some effects. But you pulled it off, basically.
And if I were to pop their heads pop their heads
Wow.
up.
I don't think I want to know about
Okay, yeah,
that
we
one.
don't want to hurt our own guys. We want to pop their heads up, not open. Well, the
Yes.
result might end up being the same if we do that and pop their heads up against the flak gun. That fight looks like they're going to just get themselves suppressed. So we don't want to open
you're
fire on
trying to
that.
lose that one, so yes,
Yeah.
what it looks like right now.
I could shoot down south and get these guys' heads down, and I don't think I'm going to provoke any fire from the flak gun. Let's see.
Looks good for those. We look at the donut wheel, which does give you the big picture.
Give it to him.
All right, you're starting to take the village, man.
Yep. Didn't quite
Yeah,
suppress these
next-
guys, but yeah,
Seems to be
Dearborn
happening.
ready to go to the next platoon. Let's see who the next guy we want to. We've got our captain still. We've got Lieutenant Thompson in the north. I could make the dash. I'll have to pass my turn, I believe. Yep. Regardless. Let's see what the Germans do in response.
Now, I'll be fair to you, Griffin. You did say an hour, and it has been an hour. I'm marketing guy's going to shoot me again, but I just want to warn you, you are using your turn time.
Gotcha. Well, we will, at the very least, I will finish. We're only 2 turns out of 35. How long? You tell me, Luke. How long is
I
this
encourage
scenario?
you to take the village
Sorry?
before you stop. Take the village.
I think I can, right? Yeah, I think I can take it. Honestly, I'm not in any pressure too much, so I'm not on a hard cutoff where now I need to just suddenly shut off the stream or anything. So we can finish up. Okay, that platoon leader spent. I'm going to go ahead and activate, I think, the bull. No, bull's done. We're going to activate... Really, the last one is left is the blue one. Yeah, okay. We'll go blue.
Our playtesters find, their platoons develop a personality, a particular leader, a particular style of advancement. You can influence your company in between scenarios. RPG again, right? Shaping them in a certain way, the leaders with a certain amount of trust or experience. And so you know that, first platoon's my experience group I use for the assaults. Second platoon might be my support one, etc.
Okay, Thompson's now spent as well, so we're going to end the turn there. And I think the last guys we have left are really just the captain and some support. Stern can't really do anything because the machine gun's all spent and the mortar is as well.
Yeah. These are the ones on the right are advanced ones from mindsets. Probably a little much today to get into it. We can just stick to the basic stuff.
And so I could use the captain for something.
Yeah,
Is there
There's something here.
anything
You
I
could
want to
you
do?
can bolster your movement if you want to get somewhere, or you can shoot people up. But bolster increases movement, not just fire.
I may honestly have this guy rally, because if I want to use those guys next turn, I want them to be green and to push in.
So in real combat, including Civil War, name your favorite period. A lot of it's that, right? So you're Fredericksburg, you get caught on the slopes. You can't advance to make the assault. You've got to rally the men so they're in good order. They would have called it Griffin's 18th or 19th century sense. World War II troops need to be in good order to pull off things too. So you can't just push. My wonderful ex-commers will kill all aliens. You have to stop and say, what's the state of my platoon? Do I need to pause and fix them? But if I pause, I may be giving the opponent, though this opponent doesn't seem too capable, a chance to rebuild themselves too. So when do you play the pace of battle?
Now, my question for you, if Stern were to do a bolster onto the machine gunners, it wouldn't really do anything, right? Because the machine gunners have no orders left.
Only way to revive them, which you can't because they've already been pressed once, is press.
Okay. Can't really call anything else in. Can't really rally at all. So
I think you're fairly done here. Yeah.
Yep.
I think the Germans are pressing these poor bastard. Sorry, language.
No,
Poor
you're good.
children, teenagers. Those of you who follow the history and look at the pictures, they're just putting old men and boys into the line now, and you're killing boys. I mean, teenagers, but you have to. It's pretty brutal.
None of the missions yet in your hand. You consider possible movements. Examine my map or examine the map and change up the... I don't think I want to change anything. Let's examine the map. Recent markings indicate where you're going to move through, where they've not. Okay. Path cleared. Yup. And
Look,
mines
it's
are...
very good, Alan. You're catching it. That's a nice detail.
All right. Let's see who I want to start with. I think I want to open up with the machine guns finally and get some use out of them because they're a support team. And they can actually put some fire and suppress these guys down. So I think that'd be useful.
Yeah. You don't need to waste a bolster because you've already got a good situation. Undaunted. Sometimes higher quality troops will not suppress under fire. So Undaunted advanced mechanic. Think of it as high morale units. So this one just got lucky. Resist being suppressed. Short history story here. Medal of Honor winner, 82nd, Greek. I'm trying to... Somebody, I hope, in the channel will put his book, name of his book, or Alan. He, at Arnhem, they were crossing the river against brutal German machine gun fire and open fields. And in our model, they should have suppressed, but they kept going, and that made me think. So that's when I developed the Undaunted mechanic. So they will do things like run under fire, and I'll stop. But emotionally, when you read the book, why did they do it? He said, I just want to get there and kill those Germans because of what they've done to my friends. So it was rage. It's not calm, clinical decisions. It's an emotional battlefield. Undaunted is a reflection of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I like that point about it's an emotional battlefield. There's guys making decisions who either on the fearful side, being too scared to do something that you may see as logical, or vice versa. So I like bringing that kind of... Because a lot of these games tend to be a little bit on the robotic side. Not that that's a bad thing. It depends on the type of game you're trying to make, but I appreciate the design you're going for and how that emotional side reflects
Your battlefield, my God, will be incredibly emotional morale 18th century. Or think of Alexander the Great driving, Persian armies much larger than them off because he's basically generated fear, and as they see their fellows running, they all start to run.
Let's see here. I think I've moved up my Lieutenant Stern here. I could probably do... You know what I actually really want to do? Let's see if I can smoke the lane. Do I want to smoke that lane?
Good move. Interesting. I haven't seen that. Yep.
The thing is that I've already somewhat committed these guys to go through the forest, so it honestly might be a little too late to do. I like that move, but it might be a little too late.
Americans used a lot of artillery so they didn't have to die. So, the democratic civilian army.
I'm just going to bomb out these guys so I don't have to waste a shot on them, and I can just charge them with the nearest troops. I think that's what I want to do.
Take it to him!
So artillery's coming down, hitting that forward squad. Let's see here. And we could call in more artillery, is that correct here?
Yeah.
I've only used one order, okay. These guys are actually...
Eventually it can be used up, but, that's probably your on-map mortars, in which case you just keep using them.
Let's go ahead and bring in that smoke, and I think it's just useful just to make sure if anybody needs to cross, like our leader in the back, he can. So at least that gets something done. He's going to end his turn.
One thing we try to do as designers, right, or I says an ambition, is to have it's got a lot going on, but we try to use mechanics that we're pioneering around XCOM action points, clear indications of where effects happen and so forth, so we could give you a credible experience but not overwhelm you mechanically.
Okay, Germans moving up in the forest, which I'm caught in a little bad position in the farmland here. I don't think I have any cover there.
They're yellow, though. Not too bad.
Yep. It's interesting, too. You guys will notice the German squads have their own symbols, so they actually belong to their own platoons. It's not like just an army of robots you're fighting. They have their own structure as well. So, okay. Gosh, it is tough. There's a lot of choices of who goes first and what they do. So the sequencing matters a lot as well.
So Sid Meier said, interesting decisions in games. Games are a series of interesting decisions. Thought a lot about that. I believe interesting decisions are where you have limited resources or you have choices and you can't have it all. So we hopefully just put Griffin in a position where he can't do all the things he wants to right now. right? He must pick a platoon. He can't do all the things he'd like with this one unit because he only has so many orders. Like XCOM, always tough choices, we hope.
And so now we have spent, let's see, group not selected, fresh and spent together. Okay.
You might be able to press him because,
that's exactly what I was thinking. I'll press them and clear the other group out. So press these guys, give them an extra order.
Very nice. Yeah.
They both should have 1 and 1 now. So 1 and 1 allows me to hit these guys. I'm not like bolstered, but I still have an advantage, I think.
Well, the men appreciate your systematicity here. You're not just charging around, but, you know, a different commander might. I think Spears would have been charging already.
Yep. My biggest thing, I think I would be a lot more aggressive. My biggest issue is a double-stacked MG42 flak gun position that covers, see this whole lane here?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm so
I hadn't
cut
noticed
off.
that. Very good. No, nice placement by the Germans, yes.
So if I go and charge anything, these guys are just going to get torn apart. So
if you go into the fields, look, the cover is degrading. So if they shoot you in the field, you could risk going south and then southeast.
I could sweep around.
Right?
And then these
What about a
guys.
mortar? Do you have any mortar on that MG? Oh, I should let you play. I'm getting
Honestly, no. Those are good points. I think I spent both my mortars because I was a little too eager. I wanted to get my support machine gun mortars out early.
Right, that's the fulcrum, right? The core of their defense is those two highly automated weapons, especially the flak, very dangerous.
Yep.
The rest looks pretty weak, so you can avoid them or you can deal with them somehow.
Yep. I think I'm going to grab Wilson. I think it's time to... Dearborn's still leading, so I have to end Dearborn real quick.
You'd like to keep going, but they get their turn. Luckily, they're somewhat passive here.
Rallying in the north.
Oh, see there, leader. Yeah, there's a leader over there.
There's a leader over there. I'm going to try and get these guys. If I do that assault, I'm going to get interrupted. Maybe I bolster and take the risk.
Take the risk.
We just have to make
pretty good troops. You should be able to pull this off. But we'll see. MG will open up on you, but you got to... Oh, you didn't waypoint it.
Oh, I didn't wait. Yeah, I issued an ambiguous order.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yep.
That's
going to be a little tough.
Maybe
Luckily,
both
German squads are suppressed.
You're hanging on.
I am hanging on, yeah. They weren't expecting it. It was such a ridiculous order. They didn't expect it.
You're to be so happy. See how you're... Nice. You got a lot of experience out of that. Oh, they came out of that well. Because you had terrible. The machine gun, for some reason, didn't fire. Yeah. And the other guys were red.
Yeah, we got lucky there. They were like, why the hell would they go there? We didn't expect that at all. Too unexpected for them. Yeah.
Now you're freaking them out like Spears did.
I think we can just keep going. I'm going to keep pushing.
Roll them up. All right.
So that failed. They're a little too tired. No more orders left, I think.
Them, so.
Yeah. And there's nothing more they can do.
You press them?
Let's see. Had I done... No, I can press them.
Okay, there you go,
I think I can try it again.
Give it a try.
Grab them, assault, try it again.
There you go.
No resistance.
Oh, you got a leader too. Cotton balers. Remember you were working with cotton balers. Nice. Nice. Oh man, they're looking in trouble now.
There we go.
Good. All right.
Okay, the German center is really
World War One. He's an experienced guy. He's still willing to do things, obviously.
And now I think it's time. He has no more orders left. I think I have to... Actually, is there a platoon leader who's currently active? I don't think there is, by the looks of it. No. Okay.
Free to choose.
I'm going to move him over. Can I have him go there? I think I have to move up. Oh, he's bringing infantry with him. Okay. All right, I'm getting out of there at least.
Somebody's watching you. There must be a German leader somewhere spotting you because they're putting mortar down on you.
Luckily, they're not too accurate.
Yeah, no. Oh, somebody you said that, and somebody got hit.
The bazooka.
Oh, and the red things, combat stress. Short aside on that. So, in war, men wear down. And so, with enough exposure to combat, they get what's called combat fatigue. Think of it as wear and tear fatigue. And eventually, they will start doing things. Remember in Band of Brothers, the guy goes blind even though he isn't? Right? Psychological blindness. Your units will, over time, start to develop combat stress. And that degrading their morale. And your leaders may even have episodes of what's called combat stress reaction, namely things like blindness, PTSD off the battlefield, We put some serious work into trying to model that as the war goes on. So by 45, maybe your troops are all experienced, but they're also freaked out by too much
Yeah.
combat.
Yeah, I remember reading about a study that was showing at what point you get a unit who's gaining veterancy, a squad or a platoon gaining veterancy, and at what point they're gaining more and more, but it suddenly drops off and they actually start going down in combat effectiveness. And this is through fatigue. So you get this curve that starts to go up as they gain experience. They know not to get themselves killed, but then they actually lose effectiveness compared to some of the newer troops because that fatigue does actually take a toll on them in the long run.
Weird things like they'll just sit there in the battlefield, not in cover, and they'll say, well, there's a bullet coming for me. I might as well have it now because they're so stressed out,
Yeah.
right? They just basically learned helplessness, to use a fancy term.
All right, so we've now spent our next platoon, I think. So I think I'm going to pass here. Yep. I'm close to taking the rest of this town here.
Yeah,
I just have to
good.
finish the assault. Yeah. Okay. Who goes next? Who do we? Our two main platoons are done. I think we just have a support and then our blue guys, who I really did not make good use of. I was a bit too indecisive with either going south then north, and yeah. Let's see if
Your captain can make things happen down south.
yeah, that's true. Captain could jump over. Could I tell the captain individually to jump down?
You have to do. Let's show him that mechanic. Pick a squad that you want him to take. You want to pump, like the one south of him.
This one here, right? And then you
Yes, sir. Helmet.
take command.
You want to explain it, or I will. I don't care.
You can explain because past
Take
this point,
command
yeah.
captain special ability. Basically, activate a squad of a random platoon so it can keep going even though its LT is not there. It's lieutenant. So do it.
Yeah, so normally that platoon leader's out of orders, but because I can use this special ability based on the captain, who does have orders, I can just borrow orders from him. So he lets me get a little bit of extra range out of these guys. And I want them to push up and see if we can start getting around south. This will set off the machine gun, but they've got to fire through cover, so hopefully it doesn't do that much. 5 is actually...
There you go. Your experienced troops. Very good. They took some combat fatigue, though. They still took fire. You made it.
Okay.
You're a little green, a little not perfect green, but you're doing okay.
And let's have these guys take the long route.
He's
Can they
taking
go
command. Captain's making it happen.
through there, into there.
Classic leader thing. Captain, stay back, do this, keep things moving, or should he be up there leading assault? What if they run into somebody?
And I think that's kind of all I want to do there with the captain, unless there's another...
Captain can command anybody anywhere.
I do have the bull squad, and they could move up.
Yeah,
Here.
you can go pretty far.
Let's go. Let's bring the captain with him, maybe.
Captain's like now.
Honestly,
everything-
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
don't want to do that because
Okay.
I'm gonna do a take command with these troops. I want to leave the captain back because I've got a lot of leaders already.
I get that.
So can I do just him?
Yep.
Check who's leading this round.
Just click again on the squad.
Mhm.
Now, one more time.
There we
Should
go.
lose the leader. Now move him
So
and take again.
to do the
Oh
take
no!
command.
Oh, no,
yeah.
you got it. You had it. Take command probably. Only first squad.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Let's see. I think
There
it's
you go. Right now.
here. I'm gonna try the take command one more time. Let's see.
That should
Let's
do it. Yes, just first squad. You said, but you added the captain.
Yeah, they don't want to move. I don't know what's going on with them. These guys on.
I'd have to look later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I actually, because he's stacked on them, I could go together. Hold on.
Here we go.
They don't want to go because they're scared.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah,
when we finally
sure.
did get them to move,
After all that, they
Yeah,
they said
they were just, nah.
not today. Now, real soldiers don't say no, Captain. What they do is they just sort of appear to do the orders and don't move too fast and just happen to have to go to ground, and that's what we're reflecting. Yeah, that's ironic. Yeah.
all right, we're gonna get through here. There's gonna be mines. I know it. But
You're picking it.
yep. I'm gonna go the long way around. There we go.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of orders I just spent on that. That's okay. I want to get these guys through here as well. That's another order I spent. At least we'll get these guys in.
Watch. You can sometimes move 2 hexes depending on the terrain, not just
Yeah,
one.
looks like it. Okay,
Okay.
these guys are spent. And then get these guys moving. Now I have that smoke. I could go down the center, but I don't think I need to. I have a nice path. In fact,
Well, you're developing nice flanking.
I should have used that smoke. It'll stay, but I should have used that smoke to finally cross the lieutenant back over because it would be safe.
Hindsight. Where's
yeah.
2020?
Blue is good. We're gonna end the turn there. And then I don't really have too much. He is a squad leader, could actually engage. I don't know how effective that's going to be.
Well, you can try one man
Let's
against
just try.
a group. Oh, you're shooting, sure. He'll fire it. Well, who knows what he has? Probably a pistol, but depends on the leader.
Yeah, not too much happened as a result.
Might be fine, but realistically, not much.
Yep. And then the captain's got a little bit left. Why don't we just have him rally the troops under him who are a little bit... Can he do that? They're an invalid target.
They already moved, so you can't rally. You take a turn, right? You'd rally, but then they're not useful.
Exactly, okay.
You can move him somewhere you want, but otherwise you don't have a lot left to do.
Yeah, I think I'll pass.
Sorry if you haven't. I don't know if you have any left. But you had a good turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took out 2 squads here, and they've just got 1 forward that's overextended.
I mean, they're in trouble.
Yeah. No more artillery. Okay. Yeah, I would say as well for anybody watching, I personally think the game, it's a similar experience when you play. This is a bad comparison because it's a totally different game, but like when you play Red Dead Redemption and you just know it's a big experience that you're getting yourself into, and you finally like jump in and it's like very detailed and meticulous, but it's just big and grand. I think what's the newest one that came? Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's another. Again, these are different genres. They look different. They feel different, of course. But these are like big historical games where you can tell they just care about the authenticity. And I do think with a game like this, if you just sit down, I think this is a good game as well when you're on your own. You're reading through. You're getting really invested. You have an hour to really like spend on this, and it's like a journey that you get to kind of progress through. So that was something that I think I played once, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. But then I played a couple more times, and I'm like, okay, now I'm invested, and I want to see how it continues.
And that's a really powerful observation, I think, because Kingdom Come Deliverance, it's been a huge success, huge.
Yep.
I think clearly one of the reasons is because people feel like, well, it's credible. It is a real experience. It connects to the past. They asked Tom Hanks, I think, back when he was doing Band of Brothers, why did you bother with those weird helmets on the German paratroopers? Because most people won't notice. He said, well, we just felt it was important to the respect, to the experience, to what the real people went through. And so the same for our group. Like I said, we have a lot of vets. We care about the details without overwhelming you, we hope, so that maybe you can feel to some extent you felt what the real infantry company commander experienced in World War II. I mean, we do things like paperwork. Now, we don't do much of it. Real command involved a lot of paperwork, but we do it once or twice, and actually it's pretty interesting. Maybe a little spirit of papers, please. You write letters home when people die. Mm-hmm. Things like that, right? The full experience. You take the men to Rome when Rome is captured for morale, but you have civilian experiences with them. You meet unusual families in Naples. I won't go into too many details. But some of the more interesting things I had were not on the battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I could kind of compare it. I think Band of Brothers is a good comparison because it's like a series that you tune in for each episode and you're getting invested over time. And this does feel like a series or like a journey in a lot of ways. It's not just, of course, what I'm showing you guys is just like a one-off scenario. But when you do get invested, I do think it's, or another comparison is like when you get into a novel and you're just reading at night and just chipping away at each chapter, and you kind of start that journey through a big book. And I think that's kind of a similar...
Really simple things for some of you may recognize: Panzer General, Panzer Corps, right? Your units gain experience and capacity as they go across time. This game's like that. Across the campaign, your individual units and leaders gain mindsets and experience and capacity, and you develop your company. Oh, look at you. You're just pushing away here.
Yeah, I found an isolated leader, but if I push in, there's definitely going to be a flak response, but I'm curious to see if I run in.
Any leader is always good.
I'm going to push in. I didn't bolster, but it's a leader by himself. Okay, they don't want to go. Maybe I do bolster.
That's probably where the model isn't accurate. They should have said, oh, look, it's one leader, But
yeah.
I can only model so much, right? Now, this should happen. They may be slightly green, though, so there you go.
Yeah.
Good to take out the leader, because remember, people are watching. You're taking out the command and control of the Germans. So now they can't rally. Now they can't give order to their troops. You're making them ineffective.
Yeah, so if they lose platoon leaders, okay, Lieutenant
Oh my
Wilson's...
God! Wow, you lost Wilson.
Wilson's down. Okay, yeah, I pushed a little too
Now, you
hard.
don't know what happened. He may not be dead. He may be lightly wounded. He may be dead. you'll
Yep.
find out the end of the scenario. This is where you do not save scum,
Yeah.
right? Because in real war, burden of command, people die. You don't know what happened to Wilson. He was brave. He's been leading a lot of assaults.
Yeah.
That will catch up with you eventually, but it's effective.
If,
Wow.
if the enemy loses several platoon leaders, does that affect their ability to issue orders, or like do their troops become more
They
static or
will
less
get
effective?
replacement leaders from the ranks, 'cause of course
Okay.
some sergeants step forward, but they're typically less effective.
Mhm.
And when this Wilson's group, everybody in his company, or at least in sight, will all be freaked out and shocked because they've just
Yeah.
seen Wilson go down. Their morale sucks. So the Germans, the same thing. They see their leader go down, their morale will get worse, and their replacement leader will probably be inadequate, and they all take a lot of suppression.
Yeah.
So
Same-
basically, you got a leader, you're cutting the head off, right, so to speak.
And it's the same thing on our side. We actually got Garcia, who just he's now the acting lieutenant
Oh, there you go.
after one
Yes.
went down. So it is kind of
Oh,
cool
look
that that's
under him.
modeled. Yeah.
Red under him. He wasn't red before.
Yeah.
Yellow to the southeast. Right there, freaked. Remember, this is a psychological battlefield. A leader's down. Everybody's freaking out. Imagine winners have gone down, how freaked out you would
Yep.
be. Or spears. Same here. Psychological effect.
And so I think it's time to activate my blue group. Now, I'm still technically commanding, I think.
Nobody's in charge yet, it looks like. You could take command, but which group is that? That's Thompson.
It believes... So my leader died, so I'm technically still commanding my... I basically have to pass, because my leader was killed.
Sorry, not long enough. I think you're right, actually. I didn't think of that example. We're a little indie, like I'm the programmer with a little help. So just bear in mind, that's why it took a little while. We tried to do a lot with a small team, like Griffin's trying to do.
Okay, so I passed to the Germans. They're pretty active right now. They're firing,
Well, there you
moving,
can see a German
rallying.
leader moving. They moved in the open.
Yeah,
You can see the AIs doing things.
yep.
You know, he's trying to keep his men together as things fall apart.
So he doesn't suspect, though. He moves over. He tries to rally them. He doesn't expect
Good.
we're right behind him right now. So if I move into that
very
forest,
nice.
do the
Flanking is rewarded.
hedgehogs. Hedgehogs don't block line of sight, so I can walk right up behind him.
Very nice. And like
Step on a
XCOM,
mine.
flanking, and like real combat, flanking is very effective. Look, flanked and surprise. Look at how massive. Psychological. You notice I'm not talking about the caliber of the bullet or wow, did this much armor penetration. I'm talking about psychological effects. You stress them. You surprise them, which think Chancellorsville. Big effect on a battle, right? Surprise matter. World War One. There's a book about World War One tactical battles and said surprise is probably the key element in battle. I mean, any period of war, that's true. And you surprise them. And
I
you
think there's
flank them.
also something impressive on a technical level, because if you guys do think of it from a development or design standpoint,
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm being responded to with some artillery right now. They're ranging us
Oh.
in.
Yeah, there's somebody's paying
Yep.
attention. Go ahead.
In a lot of games, what would happen is if an AI were engaged here, they would sort of hive mind it, where this AI would be engaged, and therefore any subsequent attacks are no longer considered a surprise. It seems here on a local level, though, that this individual squad who is active in combat can still be surprised because of where I came from with a squad who was not previously engaged. I don't know exactly what's going on under the hood, but there is a sense of immersion in that. In other games, you can imagine me sneaking up from behind wouldn't surprise them because they're already in combat. That toggle of behavior is already checked off.
The unit fog of war is modeled in terms of whether they're seen or not. Though
Yeah.
once you're seen by the side. So in that sense, it's not entirely realistic. But your unit was hidden, so the Germans didn't know
Exactly.
about it, even though other units were seen.
Yeah.
Remember, the AIs look. The AI, we don't cheat. The AI looked at the map like Griffin is, and if we were to show from the AI standpoint, they would not be seeing all the American units here. They would not know the scale of the attack that's developing
Yeah.
on them.
So it is interesting, too, because when we saw the AI move its platoon leader up there, they were oblivious to the fact that I have a whole platoon moving up
They
right
don't know
next to
that.
them. Yeah,
They have no idea, though. They probably start to be suspicious somebody coming out of the woods.
yeah.
Because it's platoons, right? Not single squads normally. Wilson, man, 1945 or 44, I think it's 45 actually. Gotten this far in the war, got through World War One. You may have just gotten him killed.
Yeah.
You can't kill- you played
Well,
the
listen,
game.
in my defense, if I wasn't streaming and if there was no pressure, I'd be a little bit more graceful. I'd slow them down a little.
No, keep doing it. It shows people how things work.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Keep staying aggressive, my advice.
Okay, we've got the bull left and enemy suppressed over there. We've still got this as a problem. I can't really fire on it because they're just gonna... Now, could I bolster with the squad? while I'm in this cover and fire on this flat gun, or is that just going to be a horrible idea?
Well, let's look at, what does it show me the fight again? How's it look? Bad right now, but try bolster.
Yeah, if I
this
bolster is what I'm thinking.
emphasizes quality over, oh wow, the flat gun's got a lot of bullets, but maybe you're the one to get focused before they notice you. Look at that.
Yeah.
Right? Psychological battlefield. And maybe we overdo it. Games like Combat Mission do a lot of modeling also of the particular details of the hardware. We do too. But we emphasize the psychological. So that worked for you.
Okay.
They're still green though.
Still
But you
green.
gotta suspect.
Yeah. Now, if they're out of orders by the looks of it, so they're not going to make any offensive actions. They'll be, yeah. Dearborn still has one order left with the.
Pity you can't get Wilson's squad over there. If you hadn't lost Wilson, you might have been able to, right?
Yeah.
Spent. You know. Damn. You can go further, Nat. Yep. You can go down south.
I may bolster with the captain.
Now, real commanders think about momentum, right? Is an enemy on his heels? Should I press the attack? Is now the time, even though I'm not in perfect shape, to push forward?
I'm going to see. I'm going to bring in my captain.
Good.
Simultaneously linking up the platoon back together. And then trying to clear out the rest of this village.
Oh, look at you. Excellent. I didn't even see you were doing that.
There we go.
Yeah, they're almost up here.
Okay, so now our bull platoon is kind of relinked. And I've got this full section of the village under my control. Yeah, looks like this is like the main thing. Honestly, though, Mike, I have enough platoon leaders kind of forward that I can now zero this in with artillery and smoke.
Look at the leadership. You can see your leadership forward, so you have a lot of command and control there, and you've got buildings around like they had to protect you. Buildings matter. You sit in the buildings, they're going to have a hard time suppressing you. Yeah, that's really nice to look at this composition of your attack. And you can see from the colors, like the red bullets, over where your platoons are going.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't get time to watch a battle. It's fun.
Who do I have really? I have just my support elements, which could come in handy, because I wonder if Lieutenant Stern could act as a spotter, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Part of the playtesters learn after a while, really, a lot of it's like, where do you put these key leaders with artillery support? He tends to be able to call artillery because you put him in a nice hilltop with a great line of sight, and he's just sitting there hidden, pounding the enemy. Can be very effective.
I wonder if I can get away with something. Could I move up here? Okay.
I've been seen by somebody, that little red signal. Somebody's seen you.
I could
So
jump.
I would not stay out there.
No, I'm trying to find a new spot to go in. I'm thinking this is really risky too, but we're just taking risks. We're taking risks. So I
all the way
think
into the woods if you want. You've got enough movement.
I know exactly where I want to go. I want to go here into.
Maybe
I don't know. I don't think I have enough movement points, but I'm gonna go through here with the hope of going into. Oh, we secured the primary objective. Now I'm gonna run into the house to take the fire, but at least I'm in the building as I go and receive the fire there.
Yeah, one guy in the woods. Oh, it bolstered himself. Undaunted. These are very experienced troops.
Yep.
Stern can take it.
Now, he's out. That's fine. Next time he's up and operational, he's right in a spotting position where I can smoke and bomb both positions. And that really clears out the whole center position.
And by the way, that's an on-site scripting problem, but the leader, you can't take an objective with a leader. So the script thought he'd taken it, but you actually haven't taken it. It's still got a Nazi flag. So you're going to need a squad in there. Boots on the ground.
I'll move a squad in then, yeah. Let's see here. So that's the captain. I think he can bring troops with him.
Yes.
And so I think I can just bring them forward. There, and actually take the objective.
There you go. All right. We're taking Rottweiler. First of the 3 flags, it looks like.
There we go. Okay. And we have some artillery we could use. Do I want to use it anywhere? Gosh.
Always limited resources.
Is there any way that I can give Lieutenant Stern an order?
No, I thought about that, right? Let them bolster other leaders. Possibly, but it was just too powerful.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you just don't feel the constraints of, ordering a given platoon because you can keep everything easily going.
If I'm not using my mortars right now anyways, then I will use one to just bomb out this position.
Yeah, one.
May have killed
some.
some.
Casualty. And he lit the building on fire. I'm not going to be happy.
There we go. And then if we have any artillery
Good
left,
move.
which we don't. Okay, that's good. I'm happy enough with that result.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good call.
Can we... I got some elements I left behind, especially like bazookas.
And you notice what we're doing, Griffin? I've never thought about this till doing a session like this. This would probably be, to some extent, like a sergeant and a lieutenant. They would be coordinating, like, yes, sir, I think we need a little more of there, but we should bring up this, right? We're sort of coordinating like a command structure on how to do it. And they would, surely.
So I have one order left on my captain, which I can use to reposition the machine gun. I'm going to put him right up here. So if these guys unsuppress, I'm going to put him right back down with the machine gun. And I
Show
think
his line of sight so the audience sees why you did that.
yeah, let's see if I was even...
You know why you're not getting a lot of line of sight there? All the smoke you put down.
Yeah, there's a ton of smoke, yeah.
So
That's
in
all right.
theory, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And the smoke against the snow is a little tricky to see, of course.
I could always move into the building next turn, too, so I'm not
Yeah.
even entirely upset with that.
Looking good.
But yeah, I think the more you play the game too, you realize like what the pace you have to calibrate to what the pace is. To you in your mind thinks when you play other games how fast you can take a board or how slow you can. In this, each time you fight a battle, you're like, oh, next time I would do something completely different. Now knowing the momentum and how much I can trust each individual platoon, what they're specialized in, what kind of abilities people have. So.
And then
again,
just when you think you figured out the standard operating procedure, we put you in a fortified line or a beach landing or clearing a town or open fields or hilltop, etc. Go ahead.
We're past the mines. No mine. Yep. Town lies ahead. Yep. And I might make... We'll see how this turn goes. I might make this the last turn. We could debrief a little bit. And then
See if we can take this town.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to check Stern. I want to check his artillery. And I think we're in luck. I think what we can do...
I mean, encourage you to try to grab both of the remaining town objectives in the time remaining, because, of course, that should be interesting, right? Because that's the whole point of the mission.
I think what I want to do is... How many times can I use this artillery? Artillery's got 2 pips. So is it one order per...
No, use both orders to fire.
Okay.
No, actually, no, I might be... Mortar? No, I think it does for mortar. Machine gun's more efficient.
Okay.
Mortar is nice.
I think I'm going to smoke off this position here first. Because that machine gun's just got way too much line of sight on everything.
Yep.
It's a little exposed, but yeah.
You got your squad down south. He could grab that last objective.
Yep. And then if I have any... Oh, I do have a little bit left. I will bomb out. Oh, I blocked my own line of sight. Okay, well, you know what? More smoke then. Grab smoke, place more of it, and just surround this. Let's see. Too far. Gotcha. He can fire down this lane. If I want to shut that down... Gosh, it is really tough choosing where you want to put everything.
Yep. And we'll normally put you under time pressure, just in case things were getting too easy.
Yeah. So I've smoked that entire area off.
Yep.
And,
try to grab that southern objective.
This one here, right? Or do you mean deep south?
Grab that one. Let's be aggressive here, because there's not much time left.
Yep. I'll end the turn there. Everybody's going to be oriented to grabbing those 2 flags, and we'll see how much progress we can make. If I disengage and grab this guy's going to shoot me up point blank.
Take a risk right now for the audience.
Let's see.
Not for your men. Bolster if you can. No, you can't. We'll just move forward.
Yeah, he
We'll
died.
be able to do it. Okay. Yeah, they don't have great movement right now because they're weak.
Attempting.
They're probably going to get whacked. Oh, well. Okay, go for it.
And there's a machine gun right there.
Hey, I don't care about them anymore. I just care about the audience. They're going to have to fire me as a leader. Think they're brave. No, too bad.
They don't want to go. They see the machine gun. They're like, Luke, I don't think so.
Like, Luke, dude, come on, man. We're here in the battlefield. You're just watching.
Either way, I'm happy enough with the result here because I see I'm going to grab that other flag, and I think I'm in a position now where I would normally clear out the rest of this church, sweep that southern objective. The whole north has fallen apart by the looks of it. There could be some more troops back here, but I think I've taken out a good...
I'll say you just... I have to give a little bit of a spoiler at this point since you didn't get as far as you might have. But short version is this scenario is only getting started, and there are a lot of surprises coming.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 5 out of 35. You could play... Again, it's kind of cool where Another game, Ultimate General Civil War, is a game I really enjoyed. And in that game, there's army management. You get attached to your troops and your officers. But you go in and it's like, all right, we're fighting Gettysburg today. And you kind of like, that becomes the whole event where you load in and you are fully fixated on Gettysburg. And it might take hours to get through. But this is a scenario like that where like you embark on it and this is like, it's a big scenario. You're leading a whole company. It's going through multiple stages. So
heavy terrain and snow. Normal ones are going to be 30 minutes to an hour, and this one's probably more towards hour and a half, depending.
Yeah.
Well, if you weren't talking, the experienced playtesters deal with this in about 45 minutes.
yeah. I played some of the earlier missions, and you fly through like some of the early tutorial or like skirmish battles that you fight.
The upside for the audience today, outside of we've got some exposure, is do go play this next week because, as I say, he was just getting to the interesting part.
Yeah. Yeah, I have bazookas, so I'm wondering when the tanks are going to come in and kind of test
now
my
we would
advance.
never be unfair to you. Come on. That wouldn't be fair. Germans want to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And do not go read any history yet, audience. But later do.
So you can see when I'm kind of being purposefully sloppy here just to move some stuff around that it's super easy. It's not as simple as just like right click to move to a position and you take it. If you make those mistakes and you get right in an open position and you don't calculate it, a whole squad could get pinned down or a leader would just die.
Wilson may be dead. You may have developed
exactly.
Wilson over 10 or 15 scenarios and you just got him killed.
Yeah. Yep.
And you care because you spend a lot of time with him emotionally in the narrative and RPG.
We're going to go and do something dumb as well.
Go for it, man. Just go be dumb. Man, really, I should be fired.
Get this done.
Let's get this done.
I'm going to say hello to the machine gunner.
They're
Hello
low
to the...
quality and they're in smoke. You actually will probably get away with this, honestly.
Okay, got it. At least I got my 2 objectives.
Damn, I hope you got the last one. Let's pass to turn 6 and we'll call it. And see, because something may happen turn 6 if I remember.
The only thing I'm a little worried about to get to this objective is there's a machine gun right watching it. I don't know if I have guys who...
No, that's serious. I would just pass. Let's just see what
You
happens.
think I can get through it? Worst case scenario, you know what? I'll move these guys up too, so they're close enough that next turn they could probably jump in as well. I'll move a captain up as well and bolster them, so next turn I can just make a dash for that objective.
One of the things we wanted to avoid, which we're doing wrong here, was in some games like this, everybody has, it's a one-off scenario, I'll just rush and everybody dies, but I win. But of course, in the campaign, okay, you rush and you get that, but everybody dies, and what are you going to do in the next battle?
Yeah,
Just have a
exactly.
real commander. Oh, you might be able to get there. Just send the... Can you press?
The lone captain? Oh, I can.
No, press.
I only have 1 order left, so if I press, he won't have enough orders to actually move
Well,
there,
it can
right?
go in by itself. No, they're weak. Just do the captain by himself. No, you can't. Press the
Yeah.
squad, send the squad in. Maybe they'll go. They probably won't. but
Can't
let's
press
try.
them. I think they're tired.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad. All right, pass the turn. Let's see what happens.
There's no other thing. Could I... Is rallying them useful? Oh, they can't even rally. All right. Pass
Because
the
you
turn.
moved them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then pass again, so the German... And
Exactly.
Then if the Germans have nothing to do, you'll be in the new turn. Okay? Pass again.
Is there anyone to move up? Not really in a good position. Just to see if... not really, no. Why couldn't these guys go? Has
Notice how
reduced
the
movement.
company is getting, though somewhat unfairly, because we've been pushing things,
Yeah.
disorganized now. They're starting to get a little bit in disarray.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay!
Uh-oh.
Okay. Morrison, I want to read one, if you don't mind. Morrison Patterson scramble over. We were behind the tree taking a shit, Morris says. You were, Patterson. Sorry, I cursed on your channel.
No,
You
it's
can edit
okay.
it later. You were, Patterson puts in. I was in the ditch. Yeah. Still the better view. Saw movement, heard an engine, a panzer. Don't close, by the way. A big one. Put your mouse over the little book icon on the right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this one here?
Okay, historical notes. Bookmark, footnotes in a game. Insane. These are actually highly popular because people say, oh, this is ridiculous. Let's not, they are overdoing it. Look at the detail here. Actually, the whole crapping behind the tree is historical, and the guy spotted the German counterattack with tanks, including a type. This is historical, even the sounds like Hollywood. And one of the things we say in the game is truth is stranger than fiction. So when it starts to get too Hollywood, it's probably not, ironically enough. And so I'm really glad we got to that point because actually you're going to enter, as you can imagine, with Tiger tanks and so forth, a very, very interesting situation, which is historic. But I will have to leave it as a teaser for today, and maybe people go try and see how it goes. We'd love to hear in our Discord or in Armchairs if you guys go do it, or our Steam forums, and tell us how it went. You don't have to say it. Everyone knows what's coming. The Germans are never going to let you just take and hold the town. No, they're going to counterattack. Now, German, last historical thing. Classic German behavior. You take something important, they will counterattack, which worked very well for them early in the war, but then it became rather predictable. And so you could actually set them up a little bit, like, oh, well, we know they're going to counterattack, put all the machine guns down. But early in the war, it's like, oh, we can relax. We took the town. Everybody have a drink. And then the Germans show up and kick your fanny.
Yeah, one thing, what did I want to say? We didn't even get to show off the armored combat, but you guys didn't even see, we're just controlling platoons. If you've got tanks in, that changes the whole dynamic and you can't just have riflemen again, you may have played old RTS or turn-based games where you can just launch riflemen against tanks and they can just chip away a health bar. But I'm pretty sure you need the right equipment, right? You would need bazookas, you need to position yourself well to actually take out something like a Tiger. Is that right?
That's right. And it's, depending on the stage of the war, it's very hard to do, and it takes a morale check. Nobody wants to assault a tank, believe me. Let me say one last thing, Griffin, as we start to wrap up. So, we want to do a successful game, and it has to be a game first. But at the same way in Kingdom Come Deliverance, we want the history. We care. My father was an historian. He's a World War II vet. My mother was a World War II nurse. It would be a betrayal of my background family to do it unauthentically. It matters. To the vets, it matters. We have a lot of vets. Why? Because they feel we're trying to tell some of the realities of war, the combat fatigue, the combat stress, etc. We just did an interview with John McManus and myself with a reenactment channel, Echoes of the Past. They do World War II reenactments. What's their motto? Their motto is, let me see if I can get it right, keep history alive. They care. They do public exhibitions. They recreate battles. They also sort of do what I'd call LARP, live action replay, on their own of World War II. But their goal is to connect you to the past. John McManus, why did he write his book? Connect you to the past. You guys would watch Armchair General because you care. Last way to put it simply. We're all alive right now. We'll all be dead eventually. But in the past, they felt the same way. Once it was their present. And they were sitting there talking about the past, maybe the 18th century people that they passed before them. My father saw Civil War vets on the front porches as he was growing up. It's that recent. And so if we do one thing, which is to connect you to the people in the past, which is to me a spiritual thing to do, then we will have achieved, for me at least, a core goal. To all those people who are as alive as you were, who served in World War II and often died early at 18 or 19, so you can have the world you have today.
I think a great thing to say along with that, too, is look at all of these with the narrative pop-ups that you get. You get these colorized photos of real people back then. And there is something about that when often you see black and white photos or illustrations of like maps and things. When you see stuff like this.
A lot of volunteers. We have a group of 4 or 5 volunteers led by Steve Lohr, a former naval officer, and he's here to get the history and to connect. You think about how long it took to colorize 1,500 photos accurate. These guys have poured incredible amounts of sweat just because they care. They're not getting paid to try to give you that credible connection to the past.
Yeah, I think that is something that definitely, when I was talking about before, it's a very immersive kind of experience that it puts you in through the dialogue, through getting connected to the men, through seeing the colorized faces of the act. I think it does do a good job of connecting you to the history. I think that's something that the game does a very good job in, I find.
And I know many of you, people we had volunteers, playtesters, many with no, again, it's not a war games leadership RPG, but no connection to these kind of mechanics. They said, well, my grandfather served, or something my grandmother did. And so they want to connect to that past too. But it isn't fair. Last little brief story. Early on, a lot of complaints from the playtesters. Hey, I sent this is a bit of a spoiler, tank down the road, and the Germans put a minefield there, and my tank got blown up. That's not fair. Right. Germans do not want it to be fair. So you will have to learn credible tactics. Like, well, maybe the Germans aren't idiots and think twice about the road.
Yeah, this is not a game as well, from what I found, where you just assume the AI is just gonna line everything up in a row and just come at you. It is interesting seeing the way they're moving around, the way they're positioning. Also, the line of sight in Fog of War, that you can't see everything. So I think that's something you might think of the road is cleared. When we first started the scenario, I just ran the platoon leader across the road, not thinking a machine gun could actually, if it's unobstructed, you could have a machine gun fire all the way down. So
yeah, people hate the MG42s, but so did the real soldiers.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a good overview of everything. Like I said, the best way to support it is to wishlist it, and definitely check out the demo if you just want to see how the game feels. It's very difficult to watch someone play and get a gauge on how what it feels like to play through it. But I recommend, this is definitely like a more solo. It's harder. There's a reason it's not a multiplayer game, right? This is something that I think is more personal. So you go through, you read it, you take your time. It's more introspective in some ways. So go ahead and download the demo, set some time aside, and really like get into it. And I think that is the best way to enjoy the game and just to try it out.
Turn-based RPGs. This is a turn-based RPG of a different sort. I play turn-based RPGs. I started playing D&D when it first came out. We understand role-playing. It's a role-playing experience, believe me. And go watch some of the videos that are coming out from YouTubers and so forth. They're saying the same thing. It is not a tactical war game that we focused on that today. More. It is a leadership experience in World War II.
Yeah. And notice that even in the short description, it's focused, the authentic tactical leadership. I think that's something that, it's not like, I played some war games too, tabletop war games, where often you're referring to like charts on the side of like range and millimeters of what the kind of penetration is and that sort of thing. But there is more of a human element when it's like rally the men, push them on, and even the terminology you're using and that sort of thing. It's less about referring to what the manual says and what the millimeter weapon and the penetration value. It's just more about like what you would do in that situation.
I mean, you notice how psychological is the quality of the troops, the leadership of the men. Look at the unit portraits. Normal tank portraits, you didn't get to see tanks, unfortunately. We just show a tank. Wow, look at the cool armor. It is cool, right, in a certain sense. But ours always, if we possibly can, show the people involved, because there's always people involved. Those are real people out on the battlefield. They experienced terrible things and uplifting things.
But yeah, beyond that, Luke, is there anything that you wanted to go over or show off before we wrap up for today?
Well, I guess we've hit it pretty well. The things I would emphasize again is the off the battlefield that we didn't show much of today, but one of the more interesting ones that I will show in some other history podcasts eventually is, for instance, you're in a town and there's a disturbance. It's in France. And it turns out that there's an incident happening with a female French collaborator. There it is, right there. Oh, that's weird. Female French collaborator, and you have to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to intervene and be the law and order? Well, on the other hand, you have a war to win, and you don't even understand how it's all operating there. You can blow it off, but there'll be consequences. You can get involved, but there'll be consequences. And so we try to paint a very broad picture. Again, I'll remind you, Band of Brothers, first episode, there's no fighting, and yet there's a lot of leadership and emotional issues and psychological. So we're trying to give the broad. People don't know what to do with the game, as our experience, before they play it. They think, well, is it a war game? Or wait, is it some kind of RPG, turn-based? It's a mix. That means it's going to be a little tricky and confusing at first, because there is no leadership RPG out there as far as we know. But it may give you a fresh experience that gives you some insight into human nature and to war. And I hope, and I'll close with this point, into your own nature. What decisions would you have made in these situations? Because we won't give you easy ones. We'll give you ones they faced. And you might find out things about yourself you like and you don't like.
Yeah, I think that's well said. But yeah, if you guys, I'm going to leave the stream up. If you guys have any questions or comments and stuff, you'll be able to put some comments below. But don't forget to wishlist it. As Luke was saying, like a lot of it's not just the combat that I showed off today, like where you have a big set piece battle. Of course, it's part of the game, but it's definitely also like managing the relationships of the people under you and going through the dialogue and what you would do in those situations. And just follow, like it is like a journey that you embark on and go along with.
It's your leadership journey. Who will you be?
Okay. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, everyone.